2 wins, 24 races. That's the entire resume of the most decorated organization in NASCAR right now. And somehow, the reigning champion is still telling you they can win it all. Kyle Larson is sitting 8th in points. Chase Elliott just backed him up completely, and if you think that sounds like denial, stick around because the numbers might actually be on their side. Here's where things stand. Hendrick Motorsports has exactly 2 wins through 24 races this season, and both belong to Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson, the defending champion, has 8 top 5s, but sits 8th in the standings, nowhere close to where a Hendrick car is supposed to be. Elliott is currently the best positioned Hendrick driver, 6th overall heading into New Hampshire. William Byron sits 12th, and Bowman is on the outside looking in at 29th, missing the chase entirely. The Toyotas have been the class of the field all year. Chevrolet and specifically Hendrick has been chasing balance all season long, and yet both Elliott and Larson are publicly saying the championship is still very much alive. To understand why this isn't just spin, you have to understand how Hendrick's season is actually unfolded. This isn't a team getting lapped, it's a team getting out-sped. There's a difference. Speed issues are about setup, aero balance, and raw pace on a given Sunday. They're fixable in ways that mechanical failures or organizational dysfunction are not. Larson made it clear ahead of last week's race that confidence isn't exactly sky high inside the shop right now. Nobody at Hendrick is walking around acting like they've got this in the bag. But there's a deeper institutional memory at play here. This organization has clawed back from bad stretches before, more than once, and that history is doing a lot of the emotional heavy lifting internally. Then Richmond happened. In a race defined by heavy tire wear, Hendrick nailed the strategy call across the board. All 4 cars finished top 10 in the same race for the first time in over a year. That's not a speed story. That's an execution story, and execution is exactly the card Elliott and Larson are betting the whole season on. Here's where this gets genuinely interesting from a strategic standpoint. Elliott isn't arguing that Hendrick is fast. He's arguing something much bolder, that raw speed is cyclical, and a smart organization doesn't need to lead every lap of the regular season to be dangerous in the playoffs. Think about what that actually means. NASCAR's playoff format rewards teams that can be error-free and opportunistic far more than it rewards teams that dominate a summer Tuesday night and a mile and a half. If Hendrick can stay mistake-free, keep stealing stage points, and let strategy calls like the one at Richmond buy them extra laps on tires when it matters, that's a real path to contention, format or no format. But here's the risk, and it's a real one. Betting on the speed will come back is not a plan, it's a hope. If the Toyota's aero and horsepower advantage is structural rather than a temporary swing, Hendrick could be playing a game of survival with a deck that's permanently stacked against them. Execution wins races when the field is close. It does not fully offset a genuine speed deficit over a full playoff stretch of elimination racing. Is this smart or is this dangerous? Honestly, it's both. It's smart because it's the only realistic strategy available to a team that isn't the fastest car on the track. It's dangerous because it requires near-perfect execution for weeks in a row, with almost zero margin for the kind of mistakes that speed alone can normally cover for. You can already feel the split forming. One side of the fan base is going to hear, "We can win without being the fastest," and roll their eyes, because that's the exact kind of quote teams give right before an early playoff exit. The other side, the diehards who remember Hendrick clawing back from far worse seasons, are going to see Richmond as proof of life. 4 cars in the top 10 in one race doesn't happen by accident. And that's the kind of stat analysts will point to as the real story under the story. Expect the media conversation to center on one question. Is this Hendrick being honest about a real path forward, or is this a proud organization managing expectations on the way out the door? Best case, the bounce issues get solved or masked just in time for the chase. Hendrick starts stealing stage points and playoff bonus points through execution. Elliott and Larson both survive the cutoff rounds on strategy rather than speed and by Phoenix. This stretch of the season looks like the quiet build-up to a championship run nobody outside the shop saw coming. Worst case, the Toyota gap doesn't close. Hendrick keeps finishing 6th through 10th. Instead of winning, gets caught out by one bad pit call or one late caution at the wrong moment. And Larson, the defending champion, watches his title defense end in an early playoff round while the Toyotas race for it all. So here's the real question. We don't have to be the fastest, just the smartest, a championship mindset, or is it exactly what a team says right before its season ends early? Drop your prediction in the comments. Best case or worst case, where does Hendrick actually finish this year? If you want the real breakdowns before the rest of NASCAR media catches up, make sure you're subscribed to SportsWire USA.